So with the forecast, we began looking at it actually Tuesday morning. We had first planning meeting Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock. Began to put some plans in place. We looked at the magnitude of the storm, what the potential snowfall accumulation, ice accumulation could be. We began immediately preparing for the worst, and that's what we've continued to do, and we're going to continue to do that, plan for the worst and hope for the best. Beginning Saturday morning, we will activate our Emergency Operations Center, which is the room we're in now. We'll have our staffing who will be at a level 3 activation, which is a 12-hour operation. We will change that to a level 2, which is a 24-hour operation, depending on what the storm does and what we need to do to mitigate the effects from the storm. Along with that, we will be activating an emergency shelter. That shelter will also activate at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. That shelter will then run continuously throughout the continuation of the weather event until we deem that it's no longer a threat to people and it's safe for people to return. That shelter will be operated by DSS for the first 72 hours. After 72 hours, the Red Cross will come in and help with the mitigation and management of the shelter. We have put several things in place with EMS. We'll operate quick response vehicles. The purpose of operating quick response vehicles is to keep ambulances off the road, lower acuity calls that do not likely necessitate a transport. We'll run quick response vehicles to those calls in an effort to keep the ambulances off the road, and then dedicate the ambulances to the higher acuity calls. Obviously, response times will be slower due to the treacherous roadways, so we want to be able to mitigate all emergency calls as best as we can. We will upstaff our 911 center to be able to handle all the calls that come into the 911 center. And we will, with the shelter, we'll have a shelter hotline. That number will be published in the information that you get, of which people can call and get information on shelters and how they can access shelters and the needed things that go on with the shelter. That's where we are at this point.
How many, you said you're going to upstaff 911 center. Do you know how many more people you expect to have per shift?
We operate typically 8 people per shift. We'll try to upstaff that to at least 11 or 12 people per shift just to facilitate the number of calls that we could potentially get during this weather event.
And then you said that the quick response vehicles will be used. Can you kind of elaborate on what exactly that is like supplied with? Is that like what similar to like an ambulance? It'll
be a 4-wheel drive truck. They are 4-wheel drive trucks that are certified through the Office of EMS as quick response vehicles. They will have all the needed equipment on them to assess and care for patients. They just don't have a transport capability. So we utilize those trucks for the lower acuity calls that are not likely to result in a transport, so that we can keep the transport units secure for those calls that are a higher acuity and may likely end up in a transport of a patient to a hospital.
What are some concerns that you guys have? I know that Rockingham County is a bit more spread out. Is that a concern, or do you have any concerns with that?
No, we have a great partnership with our local fire departments. All of our volunteer fire departments, our rescue squads, they also have UTVs that we have reached out to them, and they're ready to utilize those UTVs to make patient access, to get into driveways, whatever we need them for. So being that we're a rural area, we're really not concerned about it because of the partnerships that we have with our partner agencies within the county.
Can you talk about how important communication and partnership will be for this type of event?
It's key, communication, and that's why we've had planning meetings. Tuesday, Thursday, we'll have another one at 10 o'clock in the morning. All of our people, every resource we have come together to be prepared for this event, and they'll stay together and work well together to mitigate this event.
The emergency shelter at Rockingham County Middle School,
right,
is that absolutely activating at 10 a.m. Saturday? It will be open no matter what, or?
Well, if the storm were to change, I mean, certainly the storm's driving whether we activate a shelter or not. At this point, again, preparing for the worst, hoping for the best. At this point, yes, it's going to open at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. If the storm were to change, if the ice threat were to go away, if the snow totals were to greatly reduce, if we determine that there's not an imminent threat to life or property, then potentially we could change that. But at this point, yes, that will activate at 10 o'clock.
Okay, so it would be fair if I were to tell my viewers that just in the case that they do lose power, they might not know whether it's open or not. I could say it will be open.
Yes, at this point. And if by chance it does not open, we'll send information out that it's not gonna open.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
With a storm like this coming, you know, we've had others that might not have been as large as this might potentially be. For those who may not be taking it as seriously as they maybe should, what are some tips, easy tips that you should, you know, tell the public right now, just in preparation?
The time to prepare is now. This storm is threatening to be one of the worst we've seen in many, many years. So the time to prepare is now. The time to gather those needed resources is now. Prepare for 72 hours for every member of your family. They should prepare to sustain that family member for 72 hours. Food, water, clothing, toiletries, medications. People should to do that now while it's nice outside, the roadways are clear. People should be courteous of each other. These times are stressful for everyone. When people go in stores, there are long lines. If people want propane, there are long lines, and we've already heard of that. But understand that we're all in this together, and now's the time to be preparing and compassionate with others who are trying to do the same thing.
For residents that do have to go to the shelter, you know, if this does get worse, I know the emergency kit, for a lot of people, that means you can bring non-perishable food. Is that also the case, or will you guys provide food? How does that work?
They can bring non-perishable foods. They cannot bring refrigerated foods because we cannot put their food in the refrigeration areas for the school. But if they want to bring non-perishable things, perhaps things that don't need to be heated. So, you know, the shelter is set up as a safe haven. It's not 3 hots on a cot. So, and we want to encourage people of that it is a safe haven. It's not a 5-star motel.
Can you just share with our viewers, people who are going out and buying generators, maybe they've never used one before, can you talk about the dangers and where they should be using it? I'm trying to hint at, don't put it inside your house.
Right. Every time we have these events, we have generators inside that create carbon monoxide, the silent killer, and they actually kill people. Statewide, nationwide, we see that happen. People move grills inside for warmth. People open stoves if they have power for warmth in houses. All of these are deadly options that kill people needlessly. So certainly keep the generators outside. Use proper drop cords to power the appliances that they are powering with the generator. Again, the exhaust from the generator inside creates carbon monoxide, which is a silent killer. They're not going to see it. They're not going to smell it. They're going to go to sleep and they're not going to wake up. So certainly those elements need to be outside. Charcoal grills are made to be outside. Propane grills are to be outside. So certainly utilize caution and good common sense in these situations.
Would you say while people are out grabbing their generators, if there's any still in stock around here, to go ahead and get a carbon monoxide detector as well?
It's always a good source to do that, and then they can certainly monitor. But if they put it outside where it's supposed to be, then they would not need that inside.
When is a good time, obviously, I know the shelter says for work, just a little safe haven, but when is a good time for people to be like, maybe I do need to go to the shelter, and when should they maybe skip that?
Well, if they're fearing for their personal safety, then certainly they should go. If they feel that if their power goes out and they don't have a source to heat their homes, the lows are projected to be down in single digits. So certainly the shelter's there as a life-saving measure. So if they feel that they're in imminent threat, then certainly they should make a move to go into a shelter.
Many of us were actually in Forsyth County yesterday. We heard something similar about these low temperatures. It's the threat of that following that is kind of a big concern for Forsyth County. Would you say that's the same here, that it's the following low temps?
Yeah, I think statewide that's the biggest concern that everybody has. We can manage snowfall, we can manage power outages, but when you combine power outages with low temperatures in single digits, residents are going to cool off very quickly. That is the biggest threat that we see, is that the low temperatures, it's not projected to get above freezing for the highs until at least Wednesday. So these continued cold temperatures are actually the bigger threat than snow and ice right now.
For residents, I mean, based on what you just said, it seems that residents should prepare for the worst, meaning stay indoors for a few days. Is there anything, if their power goes out, but, you know, they don't want to make that drive to the shelter, that they should have so that they can make it through till
again, preparing themselves and their family members for 72 hours. Foods, medications, blankets. They talk about in the emergency kits, have blankets, have layers of clothing to keep themselves warm. A way to charge wireless devices. Again, if the power's out, they can't do that, but you can still, if you can get out to the car, you can charge them in your car. Gas in the car so that you can run the car long enough to charge those devices. So thinking outside of the box of what are these life-saving measures at this point.
If you guys have other questions, we'll get back to Rodney at the end. We'll let our speakers roll through, and then we'll get to any other questions that you have. We won't let Rodney go anywhere. Y'all know that by now.
Good afternoon. My name is John Stover, and I serve as the superintendent for Rockingham County Schools. I want to just thank Mr. Cates, Rockingham County Services, and just everyone who's here. What makes this county so successful is our ability to coordinate and cooperate with one another, and I think you're seeing the work we're doing with the shelter at Rockingham County Middle School is a great example of that. Mr. Cates contacted our Assistant Superintendent of Operations on Tuesday. We're prepared with generators. We have our transportation has fuel available should county services need it. So we work with one another, and that's what makes Rockingham County a great place to be. As far as the schools, obviously our number one concern is the safety of our students and staff. With such unpredictability of the weather, we really don't know what we're going to do. We anticipate there will be closures, and probably closures extending into next week. Obviously, if there's no power at our schools, we will not have schools. We will try to communicate as early as we can. We're going to send a communication out to our families tomorrow afternoon to let them know where we're headed, what we're thinking. A lot of it just depends on the forecast and what we see on the ground. We also have taken the proactive steps of looking at our modified bus routes. We have those. We haven't pulled those up in a long time. So we're looking at that in case this extends a long period of time, but it's safe to have kids go in schools. We might have to modify some of our bus routes. Right at this time, we are not anticipating using any of our 3 remaining remote days due to the possibility of power outages. We don't think it's prudent. We want folks and families to focus on taking care of themselves, being safe, and if you're worried about getting school assignments done and that type of thing, you're not going to be focused on that. We have already proactively identified some days further in the calendar that will be used as makeup days if need be. The state requires a certain number of hours, and we're within that framework right now. But should that change, we will communicate to our families. Again, I don't really have more to say other than that, but I'll be happy to take whatever questions you may have. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Hank Henning. I'm the Government Community Relations Manager for Duke Energy. And a lot of what's been said was our message too, that prepare for the worst, hope for the best. We really are, the first thing I wanted to say is we just encourage people to be prepared. Now's the time to do it, not when the storm starts. Be prepared for long duration outages. That's been said before. That's what our forecasts are showing. We are prepared. We've been preparing all week, and we're confident we can deliver. It's just waiting on the storm to get here. We're using we have an in-house meteorology team that's monitoring where the hardest impact areas are going to be. And once we have a clear idea where that's going to be, that's when we will deploy the magnitude of our resources to those areas first. So we do anticipate, or not anticipate, we have resources upwards to the same levels that we had for Hurricane Helene. So the message is be prepared at home. We're prepared on our end, and we're ready to get started to get the power on. The ice is the biggest concern for us, obviously. It makes it treacherous for our crews to get out there and deliver the restoration that we want. Also, with the cold temperatures coming, the first wave of the storm coming through doesn't necessarily mean the end. As temperatures drop again, there can be continued outages going on. People shouldn't assume that we're aware of the outages. Call the 800 number. Don't be shy about doing that. Let us know. I also do want to thank all of our partnerships that we have with other first responders, DOT, Energy United, and everyone else in the area that we work with. We work as a team. If there's trees down on the roadways, We work with each other to do that. First responders are out there for traffic control, and so we're happy with the partnerships that we had in the past and expect to see that through this storm too.
How many crews do you expect to have out this weekend?
So we have upwards of 18,000 deployed to the area. And like I said, we're monitoring the forecast to see where the hardest areas are going to be, hardest impact areas first, and that's where we will deploy and stage those resources to respond to those areas. So whether that's here in the Triad or wherever, that's what we're prepared to deploy to.
Do you have any extra crews coming from, outside of the state or outside of the area coming here?
Yeah, so we're in multiple states. We have folks coming in from our Midwest territories to deploy here. So, yeah, a lot of folks coming in to help, and that includes both Duke Energy employees and contractors from around the country.
Can you talk about, you know, what gets fixed first, like in that order? 'Cause I know residents kind of have to wait a little bit longer, but maybe more information.
That's a great question. So the way we do it is a lot like triage. So it's not necessarily a divide between residential and others. Obviously, hospitals and nursing homes and critical areas are water and wastewater treatment plants. When those are down, those are considered critical areas, and we will tend to those first. But as far as power restoration, I encourage folks to get used to our Duke Energy outage map on our website. And you can see the clusters where if there, let's say, 1,000 meters are out, we will focus on those first, because our goal is to get the maximum amount of customers on the quickest. It doesn't mean we won't get to the others, but we're trying to get those percentages up of power restored as quick as we can to maximize the benefit.
We'll circle back to some more questions at the very end too, so you guys have some time to think of some questions, so we'll
Fair.
move on.
I'm not going anywhere, so.
I can't let you guys.
Good afternoon. My name is Thomas Golan. I'm the CEO of Energy United. A lot of what we're focusing on has already been talked about, but I think it's important to set the tone of what is most important to us at Energy United, and I think for the most part, everybody here, which is safety. If we can come out of this storm with nobody, the public being hurt, or any of our employees being hurt, that is a huge success for us. So how do we do that? We start by preparation. We've been preparing since Monday in earnest. Really, we're always prepared because we're constantly dealing with outages, just be it trees and the weather and whatnot, but we're starting to plan heavily on Monday. As far as crews we're bringing in, we only have about 265 employees at Energy United. We already have over 100 contract crews coming in, so we're going to significantly increase our size in the next couple of days to make sure that we're ready to deal with whatever comes our way. Another point to just keep in mind is that with ice, that's what worries us the most. Snow is one thing to deal with, but with ice, you're talking about putting on tremendous load on our lines and tremendous load on the trees, and that can take them down pretty easily. A quarter inch of ice is sort of nuisance outages. A half inch of ice is lots of outages. An inch of ice is sort of catastrophic outages. So depending on how that forecast lays out, we're really going to keep our eyes on what kind of ice deposits we see on the lines. Again, safety, I think this kind of goes without saying, but treat every line as energized. So if the public's coming across these lines on the road, don't drive over them, turn around and go the other way, call 911. If, God forbid, a line lands on your car, stay in the car, call 911, of course, unless it's an immediately dangerous situation. Safety is of the utmost importance during this storm. That's what we're going to be focused on. The other thing with ice is our response times. You know, we're dealing with the same conditions the first responders are dealing with. We drive these big trucks around, trying to make sure we get the power back on. It's slippery, so we might be impeded by some of the environmental conditions, trees down, et cetera. But I just want to let everybody know in the public that Energy United is keenly focused on making sure that we are ready to deal with this. We have expert people who live in the communities, who serve these communities, and we're ready to deal with the situation in front of us. So thank you. Happy to answer any questions.
Yes, please. We'll come back.
Okay, awesome.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Spencer Odell. I'm with Rockingham County Maintenance with the North Carolina Department of Transportation. We are actively monitoring the situation as it evolves. We have completed our brine operations today. We have brined 220, 29, and 73. As we complete these brine operations, we will be switching over and loading our trucks with salt and spreaders so that we are prepared for this when it comes in. as we go about as it comes into fruition, we will begin on primaries and then go to secondaries. Typically, it will go major thoroughfares as far as the priority of secondaries, and then eventually go to your dead-end subdivision streets. So with all of that, I will not take any questions.
We'll bring everyone up.
But thank you.
As a quick note, brought Spencer in because North Carolina DOT manages the roadways in the county. The county does not have snowplows. The cities do. Eden, Reedsville, they will be maintaining the roads in the city, but the state DOT maintains the roads in the county, so we appreciate all the work that they do. And I also want to mention our website, county website, rockinghamcountync.gov. I have put up a storm center there. It's where all this information is going to be, from the shelter information to important phone numbers, contacts, any information that we need to push out. It's all in one centralized location. When you go to the website, there's a red banner on the top, takes you right to the storm center, and that will be continuously updated on one single page throughout the event. So if you guys have any other questions, our speakers are happy to take any questions.
I have a question, about the shelter, for the pet information, just for people if they do know that they need to come to the shelter if they lose power or whatever it may be. Can you discuss what will happen if they do bring an animal, if they do need to bring one?
They will go, and they can go with us over to the animal shelter. The animal shelter is about a mile within proximity of where the shelter is going to be. That's the reason all of this is in place where it is. They can go with us to the shelter. They'll fill out the paperwork about their companion animal, and they will secure their animal. They can have the peace of mind, the pet owner can have a peace of mind as to where their pet is, and that it's properly secured. We will give them an opportunity to go back if the animal needs medications or whatever the animal needs. We'll give them an opportunity to go back and check on that animal throughout the duration of their stay at the shelter.
Great, and can you also just hit on, we got a list here, like bedding, clothes, medications, emergency kits, things like that to bring if you do need to come. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Again, just bringing those personal effects that they may have. If there's some bedding they need. The shelter will supply a cot and a blanket, but if they need an additional blanket, or if they think that they do, or, you know, the non-perishable food items that were mentioned earlier, their medications that they may have, whatever they need to sustain themselves during their time at the shelter.
For the energy companies, you kind of touched a little bit on this, how ice could be a factor. Can you just talk about, should residents be patient and know that this could take a while for things to come back up due to the ice and crews trying to work as fast, but as safely as they can?
Sure.
Yeah, so if I understand the question, so yeah, be patient, but like I said, don't hesitate to call and make sure that we're aware of the outage. If you see crews working, please, I encourage people, if there's still ice on the roads, stay off the roads, let our crews do their things. But yeah, don't hesitate to call and make sure that we're aware of the outage, and we'll respond as quick as we can.
Yeah, I think preparing for multi-day outage is the right thing to be doing. If we get the ice that is projected, it will be a serious impact to all of our systems. So I think thinking about those 72 hours that was mentioned earlier today is probably the right thing to be do. Just plan for it, and then hopefully we don't have to deal with it, and hopefully get power back on a lot faster. But again, safety is sort of top of mind. We've got to keep our crews safe so they can make sure that we safely restore that power back to our members' homes and everybody gets back to normal as quickly as possible.
I know most people aren't electricians in their homes, but is there anything that they can do to, prepare for that specific thing, for outages, or things that we should have in their homes for that, or is it just, wait on y'all?
Well, if the power goes out, yeah, I mean, just, I would make sure that you have flashlights and stuff that doesn't require charging to be available. That's the best advice. The one thing no one has mentioned, if the power does go out and you're worried about your food perishing, I mean, it's gonna be cold enough, you might be able to put it outside, but leave your freezer and your refrigerator cold. It'll last for at least 24 hours if you don't let that cold air out. So that's one tip that they could do.
Yeah, I don't think there's any major preparation you can do. Just one thing to be cognizant of, if you have electric heat, when the power does come back on, that thing's gonna be racing to try to get power back on as fast as possible. So you might slowly warm the house back up rather than trying to go from 0 to 80 immediately.
Really quickly, did you say that there were 18,000 crews deployed or 1,800?
18,000.
Wow.
So we're upwards towards Helene levels as far as our prepared response. Hopefully, we don't need all of them, but we're prepared to really hit the ground running as quick as we can. The trick is gonna be, I think for Energy United too, is, you know, there has to be a point at which it's gonna be safely to deploy out into the field and start doing the preparation with the ice. And hurricanes are one thing, when a storm passes and you can get right on it, but with the conditions, we need to make sure our folks can be safe too. Not only for their safety, we want everyone to get home to their families, but also when there are incidents, it slows down everything. So safety is our number one priority for our employees and the public.
And also with the widespread effect, this is gonna affect 30-plus states. So generally during storms like this, we're able to bring in help from other states that weren't affected. But we're a little bit, concerned right now because you see how widespread this storm is, and a lot of the states gonna be trying to take care of themselves, not necessarily send them down to the Carolinas. So that's something we're consistently looking at and trying to get as many crews from outside. We've gone as far as Ohio, New York in the past, so we're looking as far as we can to try to bring people down to help.
Is that for the whole state? Or
For,
the 18,000?
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
I've heard of his concern, especially with people with generators and stuff. You've got people going, most of the generators around this area have already been sold out. You got people that never bought one. And they're thinking, oh, we hook it up and everything, and, oh, we can just run, drop cords from the generator, or try to hook it up to the electrical box. That's concerns too, because that could cause some problems for you guys. Maybe it's
One concern for us is if you try to wire it in a way that isn't within, electric code, you could potentially be sending energy back to our grid. And if you're doing that while our guys are out there trying to put the power back on, then you could potentially hurt them. So again, have an electrician out there on how to properly wire it, and then follow all the manufacturer's recommendations on how you should operate that thing correctly. It's not something you want to just, figure out the last minute, try to figure out now in the days of preparation rather than the last minute.
Exactly. Yeah, it can be a danger to our folks.
For Energy United, I know that you cover 19 counties in North Carolina.
We do.
One, can you talk on which ones are in the triad? And then two, how many people do you expect to have your crews in the triad?
Yeah, so we, in this area, in this immediate, Rockingham, Stokes, Guilford, and Forsyth, we had about 11,500 members, all served out of the Madison area office. There we have several crews. The way that we play or work through these problems is we really got to see where the problem is. And just like Duke, we're going to triage it. So if the majority of the impact is up here, we're going to send as much as our team up here as we possibly can, work that problem, then start to go to the smaller problems as it is. So it's not a straight answer, but it's sort of a wait and see situation that we get into as the storm evolves. Sure.
Any other questions? Thank y'all for joining us.
Wait, is there anything we didn't ask you that you think is important for viewers to know?
I would just reiterate, I believe Rodney said it, but just if you do go out into the roads and you see down power lines, stay away from them. Do not get out of your cars, because everything on the ground in this storm is going to be a conductor. It can be very, very dangerous.
And I can add one thing too. So in the training of applying salt and pushing the roads, you're looking at the vehicle going somewhere around 25 miles an hour. So they do move very slow. So if you are out and you get behind one, just be mindful, and they are throwing salt behind. So the closer you're riding up, you are likely to get your car pelted. So another thing too, this is going to be a multi-day event because of the temperatures. So everything that we do on Monday or Sunday, it will have a chance to refreeze. And so just because it looks like you're clear to keep on going and go 45 when it's a 45, because we all do, that one wet spot could be black ice. So we always have that chance of refreeze, and we will be hitting those spots as fast as we can. So thank you.